Welcome to ProptechOS Best of Breed podcast. My name is Erik Wallin. I'm the Chief Ecosystem Officer at ProptechOS. Today's guest is Jan Olin. That's the CEO of EpSpot. EpSpot is a manufacturer of EV charging components and software to manage large fleets of EV chargers. Very welcome, Jan.
Thank you, Erik. It's a pleasure to be here today to discuss with you in this fantastic podcast. I'm honored.
If we're looking at this from a very focused area, from EV charging, what's the biggest challenge?
Yeah, I think, first of all, let me take a step back. I mean, in our approach that we have had since our inception, and we have been working with you in several projects for many years, it has all been about managing the complete situation. And the complete situation encompasses, obviously, EVs. It encompasses users. It encompasses the real estate or the building itself and its electricity supply and its infrastructure. So it has always been about that.
And the grid.
Of course, and the grid, very important. So it has all been about packaging that complex environment into something that works and that is understandable to everybody involved, to all those stakeholders. And our approach has always been that there is many different factors that needs to be optimized in relation to each other, and you cannot do that on a subset of data. You need to encompass as much data as possible to be able to do it. We have been trying to aggregate all the data into the cloud and to process it primarily in the cloud, but not only. Some things you can actually do locally, so it's a combination. But generally speaking, it's about processing this data, and it's real time. It's all real time data because prices is real time, consumption is real time, production is real time. It all needs to happen in real time, sort of. So for us, that's kind of where we come from. And what is the challenges ahead in this? I mean, we've been doing it for many years already. It's not going to be a transformative thing. It's going to be like a continuous evolution in collaboration with all those different stakeholders. And so, for instance, if we talk about integration with the car, today in the old world, it's a somewhat analog connection with the car. You don't exchange very much information with the car. But if you had more information about the car, you would be able to do a better job. The other one, it holds true for the car as well. I mean, if the car knows more about the situation, how much electricity is available, what's the price and stuff, the car can do a better job in informing its driver about the circumstance.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I know you told me before that, I mean, there is a challenge to get data from the cars, to get more data. You said simple things as state of charge. I didn't know. I thought that was, I just took it for granted that you on the EV, on the charging equipment side knew that, to get the simple data out, or then at the later stage, of course, getting more complex data out. Yeah. And as you said, where will this kind of optimization be? I mean, when we're looking at this, we're going to optimize. I mean, in the end, for the end user, I have an EV car and I live 50 kilometers closest to the nearest emergency hospital. I'm always making sure that there is like 100 kilometers of juice in the batteries, because if you're in the middle of the night with some kid, have to go there.
Typically, you buy the car to be able to move around at your convenience. Typically, I mean, otherwise you can take a bus or you can go with cab or whatever. But the fact that you have a car gives you freedom. And if you start to use the car for other purposes than actually moving around, like using its battery to trade with your energy or power, the industry is in 100% agreement about how do we exchange information with the car. There is this standard called ISO 15118, which is sort of cemented, I would say, which is good. So the car manufacturers and the manufacturers of the EV charging stations and the whole industry is moving in this direction, which means that we will be able to extract or exchange information with the car. So an example could be that we actually can get the digital ID on the car, so that we know who it is or who should pay. It means that we will be able to extract, subject to consent, of course, state of charge of the car. We can give a better service if we know. We can extract if there is a programmed departure time, for instance. You can ask that in the app if you want. I mean, we have an app. We can ask it in the app, but that's kind of clumsy. I mean, the user needs to key in the same information in two places than in the car and in our app. That doesn't make sense. So we can get that kind of information, and then we can also give instruction to the car how much ampere it can actually take from each phase, which is very important because then we can help the real estate infrastructure to have a smoother balance between the consumption on the phases and
help the grid in that sense.
And help the grid. So exchange of information will create a lot of value for a lot of stakeholders, and everybody needs to see their perspective of the same process. I mean, the car owner needs to understand when the car is going to be completed in the sense that they can take it and leave, or the real estate operator needs to have the perspective on that their grid is not going to be overloaded, and that they can maybe keep the power transfer tariffs down and maybe leverage the solar.
So I mean, you can basically see that you have the different domains of interest. Of course, you have the user with the car, or you have the end user that needs kilometers or something like that, and then you have the car manufacturers, and then you have the charging equipment manufacturers, then you have the one owning the garage or the parking place, the building, we can say, and then you have the grid. And I mean, everyone of course have their different interests, and with the end user when you're looking at this, as I know you told me before, that your load on your call center, on your support call center, has increased because the car is getting smarter and smarter in not charging, like my smartphone, that sometimes it only charges to 80%.
Yes, yeah. That's a very obvious development over the last couple of years, where, I mean, 5 years ago or even before that, a car, when you connected it to the charging station, it's charged up to 100%. No questions asked. And people got used to that. Then, as the chemistry in the batteries doesn't really, the lifetime of the battery becomes shortened if you charge it to 100%, and or if you discharge it below certain percentages.
Right.
So the car manufacturers has put in a lot of features trying to optimize warranty problems and the longevity of the battery itself, which to the user becomes like the car becomes unpredictable somehow. It doesn't do like they expect any longer. It's our service somehow that is part of this, and they ask us, why isn't my car charging? And we can see in most cases that the car has the opportunity to do it if the car wants. If we can increase information flow here between the various entities, it will be better for all of us.
Yeah, and the car manufacturer, I think, when it comes to warranties, will of course be discussion of. I mean, you have that many kilometer warranties, but will it rather be charging cycle warranties instead? Is that you?
Yes.
That's what when you're buying a car, you want to see the charging cycle.
So there is this right. So which leads us into another topic, related topic about the sort of reselling electricity from your battery back to the grid. And what's the commercial drivers in that process? And is it that you can sort of do arbitrage gains on buying cheap and selling expensive, or is it that you can help the grid to do flex services, or what's the idea, and what's the downside? I mean, maybe you can't use your car when you need, or I mean, buying a used car 15 years ago, all you asked was how many kilometers has it done, and now we will ask how many charging cycles do you have left on your battery? Is it have you how many 100% charging sessions have you done, or have you always kept up below 80?
Have you been charging it like on high speed chargers? Or
is it Norrlandskörd or whatever it's called?
Norrland, like. Only driven by an old lady on Sundays.
Exactly. So those are important points. But speaking about electricity pricing, We spoke about that. We have this spot price in the Nordics. 15 minutes intervals now. And
that's the tariff. I mean, that's the
yes,
power tariffs.
The power tariffs, and there is a lot of focus talking about what's the price of the energy. A little bit reflection on that topic is that, I mean, when you buy charging of an EV, it's not just the electricity you're buying. You're buying, you're renting someone's equipment that they have sort of installed that costs a lot of money, that is maintained, that is operated, which costs also. So it's only a fraction of the actual price that you pay as a consumer. That is the electricity. The rest is actually keeping this infrastructure in shape, and it has a finite lifetime. The battery has a finite lifetime. The charger has a lifetime as well.
To see that I thought they were kind of live forever, but they don't.
They have relays,
mechanical wear and tear.
Exactly, they have connectors, and if someone comes with a damaged connector which has got a little bit burnt since before, that will ruin the outlet on the charger, and vice versa. It's kind of a sensitive system at the end of it. Robust but still sensitive.
And as you said, Jan, in the European grid now goes from 1 hour measurements on power tariffs to 15 minutes. It's now in June, beginning of June, which will make it probably, the opponent says it should be helping the grid.
Right.
and the realists or pessimists says that it will be even more expensive for end customers. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But everything is happening in real time, right? Pricing is real time, consumption is real time, load balancing is real time. People who wants to get their electricity expects it in real time. So everything is in real time. So it does make sense though.
Shorten.
At the end of the day, I'm a true believer in real-time processing, so I think that there is no other way actually. And we're talking 15 minutes June, but that will eventually.
So you think it will be even shorter?
I think so, eventually. Actually. And if you have solar, you know a lot about this. But as soon as the sun goes away and the sun
goes away, it goes
comes on the panel,
when you have
and you see the
cloudy day, it goes
right. But you know, when the cloud and when the sunshines come and you see immediately it happens. That's the point in time where you start to optimize. So I think it's inevitable, unfortunately.
Okay, that's really good.
On the other side, that equation though, I mean, in order to process data real time, connectivity becomes very important, and then it gets more sensitive to interruptions in communication and stuff like that. So that's another flip side or the backside of the coin.
And giving an IT security. I mean,
an IT security. Yes.
Someone could be able to hack these things. And,
right.
At best, only prevent people to go to the job, and at worst, breaking these.
Yes. Exactly. You're as digital as I am, I know that. But I think, all those problems that there is related to real-time communication as well. I mean, I think at the same time, whatever we build, it needs to work even if the communication breaks down.
It needs to be robust.
It needs to be robust, and there needs to be fallback mechanisms in place.
I mean, as we said before a little bit, that this is a multidimensional problem. I mean, if you're going to optimize the end user experience, the car manufacturers, warranties and product, the charging equipment, the one that actually owns the place where the charging equipment is placed, like a real estate owner, and the grids that is going to interact with everything else. It's really a multidimensional problem. Sounds like something for AI to fix.
Yes,
I would presume. If we make it easy for us.
Yes.
But again, then also, so it can be explainable to not only the end user but to everyone. So
yes.
I mean, so also the property, everyone in the chain understands what is going to happen or why did that happen.
Yeah.
What can you expect from this system? And then you also said a very important part that when you're looking at this with this new ISO standard, it was ISO
15118
that has basically been adopted by the community, or I mean by the business, by the industry. That train has left the platform. I mean, that's really interesting insights. And I also think you mentioned before that, of course, there's still challenges on the interaction between the grid and the buildings with standardization. And I love standards, of course. I mean, real estate core standards and how we are adopting these different ones.
Yes, and it cannot be overemphasized how important standard becomes now, that we need to connect all those dots basically and make it unity. Standard is the way forward. There is no way that this is going to happen without standards.
No. So, I mean, here you basically have the car industry, you have the property owner, you have the grid owner, 3 different domains, and then you have the charging equipment, which is kind of something in between, between the property owner, and the work is, of course, really important with standards. Good that you have someone saying the same thing here. Well, so thank you, Janne, and thank everyone for listening to the ProptechOS Best of Breed podcast with Jan Olin from EpSpot, and manufacturer of EV charging equipment and software to manage large fleets. And you can contact me or Janne. You can see the link below this clip, and there are more links to other podcasts. Thank you very much.